Welcome to Our Town here on Hometown Radio 103.7 FM and 1340 WAGN. I'm Ken Connors. It is the start of a new semester at the local University of Wisconsin campus, and there's plenty more than just classroom studies planned at UW Marinette over the next few months. I'm going to be talking about classes, the new semester, public programs that are going on at UW Marinette today with their dean, Paula Langto. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thanks for having me, Ken.
Absolutely. First off, I got to say, it sounds like you're in a pretty good mood this morning. Thanks a lot to the basketball program there at UW Marinette. Had a historic night last night for the Lady Bucks.
Yes, we did. Thank you so much, Ken. UW Marinette women's basketball, they actually clinched the Wisconsin Collegiate Conference title last night, and we are very excited about it. It's the first time in the campus's history, and we have an amazing team, and I just want to give a shout out to the Lady Bucks and congratulations. And
not to mention, too, it sounds like the men are possibly on their way to another title, too, it sounds like.
That's right. Can it get any better than that when you have two amazing teams in one season? So, yes, we have one more game at Waukesha on Saturday, and that will be the deciding game to see whether our men Buccaneers will also be clinching a WCC title. So wouldn't that be something to have two in 1 year?
So plenty of good things going on at UW Marinette right now. Of course, the campus, it is still actually enrollment time because the new semester is underway. Just a few more days, it sounds like, if somebody out there is still looking to enroll in classes.
Right. We allow enrollments through the 10th day, which would be Friday. But so far, enrollment is very strong. Looks like we'll be pretty comparable to where we were this time last year.
And one thing I want to touch on here, too, it sounds like this has been a big success for UW Marinette. You added student housing in the last year or two, was it?
Right. We started in 2012. It was really a very important part of our growth. We are at near capacity now in our student housing, and it really has made a difference, I think, particularly for the students at the northern end of the county who sometimes have 45-minute to an hour drive to come to campus, to be able to live on campus. And, of course, for our international students, which provides an opportunity for that program to grow, which provides great diversity for our campus as well.
Is it safe to say that student housing then has helped those enrollment figures?
Yes, it has. Yes, and we're very grateful for that. We still have some rooms available in student housing, so if there are students out there who still need a place to stay, but we are pretty close to capacity at this time.
So one thing that we always like to talk about, too, is the value of going to UW Marinette and maybe staying local for a lot of these students here for those first 2 years of college. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, we continue to be the lowest cost provider of a UW education in the state of Wisconsin, and we're very proud of that fact. Our students are very successful, and our mission is really access. It's about providing that opportunity at the lowest cost available for students to come and get a university education.
And like we said, still a little bit of time left to enroll for the new spring semester here at UW Marinette. Folks find some information on the website about that?
Mm-hmm. Our web address is www.marinette.uwc.edu.
All right, and get on that if you're looking to enroll in classes there at UW Marinette for the spring semester. It is underway right now. I believe classes started January 26th, but you still get to enroll for a few days after that. All right. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk more about UW Marinette as we keep going here on the show today. One of the big things at the campus is it's a big anniversary for them there, so we're going to talk about that and some of the programming that's going on at UW Marinette. You're listening to Our Town here on Hometown Radio 103.7 FM and 1340 WAGN. Stick around. And welcome back to Our Town. I'm Ken Connors. Today, I'm joined by the Dean of UW Marinette, Paula Langto. We've been talking about the new semester that just got underway at UW Marinette. Still just a little bit of time, too, maybe a day or two left for potential students to enroll in the spring classes there at UW Marinette. But I want to turn our attention now. It's a very important year for the local college campus because this is actually the 50th anniversary of UW Marinette. Paula, what's that mean to you, just being around here and in the local community for the past 50 years? It's a big accomplishment.
It is an amazing accomplishment, and we're really grateful, first of all, to Marinette County that had the vision for the campus 50 years ago, secured the land and provided funding for the building so that we could have this amazing opportunity for students to have access to a UW education. And they continue to provide support for those facilities every year, and we're thankful for that.
I'm assuming, and it looks like you've got some special things lined up here for your anniversary year then too as well. Can you touch on a little bit about what's going on?
Sure. Well, we're starting off by kicking off with a speaker series to celebrate 50 years of academic excellence with presentations by faculty with the theme of the 50-year retrospective, locally and nationally, in music, in history, in science, psychology, and theater, among others. So the first program will be this month, February 19, with a look back on the last several decades of rock and roll. How fun is that?
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So our professor, David Giebler in music, will be doing that presentation. And then the other topics will take place in March, in April, in October, and in November.
Very nice. You do a lot of those programs for the public, too, coming up throughout the year. Should touch on here, of course, since this is an election year, City of Marinette, you've got the mayoral events coming up, and one of them is actually coming up next week with the Meet the Candidates event.
That's correct. UW Marinette and the Marinette Menominee Area Chamber of Commerce are co-hosting a reception for Marinette's 4 mayoral hopefuls on Tuesday. Is it Tuesday, February 9th at 6:30 p.m.? Is that right? Did I get?
I think it's February 10th.
Is it 10th? Okay,
It's the 10th,
my mistake.
Yep.
I've got a typo here. I thought that seemed wrong, but it's at 6:30 p.m. So it's Tuesday, February 10 at 6:30 p.m. in the campus cafeteria, and that's free and open to the public. And it's really an informal meet the candidates. The candidates will be available to meet with people, answer questions casually, and to mingle. And they will also provide statements. Each candidate has provided a one-page statement that we've posted onto our website so that people can see what their positions are and what their interests are and what they would like to do if they're in office. Of course, UW Marinette is not supporting any particular candidate, but our job is to provide education for the public and an opportunity for people to learn about the candidates and their positions.
And you did say, of course, it's the Meet the Candidates next week, Tuesday, and that's with the 4 mayoral candidates. That's going to get whittled down to 2 candidates following the spring primary. And then we go on to the actual spring election that's coming up in April, and you do the forum for those 2 remaining mayoral candidates, and that's coming up, in March?
March 19, that's correct. The top 2 vote getters in the primary will speak at 6:30 p.m., this time in the Herbert Williams Theater, and that will be a moderated session where the candidates will answer questions that are posed by the audience, and we will have a process for collecting the questions from the audience on note cards and giving each candidate an opportunity to answer those questions in sequence.
Other things going on, you mentioned the lecture series during this 50th year of UW Marinette, and you've got some fascinating things to be talking about there. I want to touch on this one right away here if we could. You have a talk with Anne Frank's stepsister, and that's coming up next month in March.
Yes, that's a very exciting opportunity. It will be a historic evening when Holocaust survivor Eva Schlaus, who is the stepsister to Anne Frank, will be on our campus on Tuesday, March 31st. One evening, one opportunity, 7 p.m. in the Herbert Williams Theater.
This just kind of boggles my mind in some way. How do you get somebody like that to come to UW Marinette, to come to the local area? Because that's an impressive speaker, I imagine.
It is, and really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity because she's 86 years old, and many of the Holocaust survivors are no longer with us because they are an aging population. So this is really a unique opportunity. We're collaborating with 4 other institutions around the state so that we can bring her from her home in London to Wisconsin, and she will be going to different campuses, and we're sort of sharing in those expenses. The other thing that's important to know is she doesn't charge an honorarium. She's very interested in providing education. And so she does all of this really just for her travel expenses.
And it sounds like this is one you're going to need to get tickets for.
Yes. Tickets are on sale online at the UW Marinette website, and they're going very quickly. So if you're interested in coming, I encourage people to get out there and to reserve your tickets soon.
So I'm going to need to get on there and get those tickets quick because
Right.
I do hope to be at that one. Again, that's March 31st, you said.
And very affordable. It's $10 for an adult ticket and $5 for students. And students includes not only college students, but any student in the school districts as well.
I'm looking ahead to another lecture presentation coming up at UW Marinette is going to regard the Peshtigo fire, and this is talking about writing historical fiction. This was kind of interesting to me, too, taking that a little bit of a local spin. What's going on there?
Right. Author Rebecca Meacham is coming to UW Marinette to give a lecture and presentation on writing historical fiction, and is going to be reading excerpts from her novel in progress about the Peshtigo fire, and that's on March 5th. In M117 in our main building at 12:20. So it's a lunchtime presentation, 12:20 p.m. And this is, of course, open to the public.
I wanted to ask you about this one. I'm just going to start by saying this is kind of interesting. A connection to a guitar or a cutter, depending on how you pronounce the country's name. Can you just take me through this story? This was kind of fascinating.
Right. We had a really wonderful opportunity for one of our students, Cody Reisner, who's from Stevenson, is a first-year pre-med student and is working with our new campus biologist, Renee Richer, who's actually a Gladstone, Michigan native. And she came to our campus this year and has been working with other top-notch scientists around the world. And there was a conference on toxins in desert environments in just last month in Qatar, and she was able to, through grant funding, provide an opportunity for student Cody Reisner to not only attend the conference, but speak at the conference on some of the research he's going to be conducting this spring in our area. Many of the toxins that you find in soils are generated by humans. And so when you find them in the desert, they're generated by humans there. And we also have toxins in our soils here. Cody's going to be conducting some research locally on our toxins in our soil and then bringing that information back to this top group of scientists that's looking at it in the soil in the deserts.
Some really worldly experience there going on at UW Marinette. That's great.
Right.
We already talked a little bit about the athletic accomplishments, of course, with the UW Marinette women's basketball team, and the men are doing quite well here too. Some other accomplishments to talk about. You've got some awards, really kind of goes to show the quality of the staff and the programs there at UW Marinette. What can you tell me about those?
Right. It's really been an amazing year this past year in terms of recognition for the world-class faculty and staff we have at UW Marinette. Two of our instructors, Dr. Amy Redinger, who teaches English and Women's Studies, and Tanya Meisner, who's an associate lecturer in math, were both recipients of the UW College's statewide Chancellor's Excellence in Teaching Award. And when you think about the fact that only one individual from 13 campuses statewide gets that award in each of those two categories, and Marinette faculty and staff took those awards in both categories, that's really very exciting.
Dr. Dan Calgren, he's got something kind of prestigious going on too, I understand.
Professor Calgren is an associate professor of history, and he was appointed as a member of the Wisconsin Teaching Fellows and Scholars Program, which is an opportunity where top-notch teachers from across the state are recognized. They come together and they share best practices and bring those back to the classroom. So we're very excited that Dr. Calgren was honored and will be learning even more to help our campus locally.
One of the people really responsible for us having a local college campus, too, Mr. Seaborg. He had something kind of interesting happen here.
Right. John Seaborg is the original campus architect, and this past year he was recognized with a University of Wisconsin Colleges and Extension statewide Chancellor's Friend and Advocate Award. So it has been an incredible year, and it really, I think, is just reflective of the quality of the faculty and staff we have at UW Marinette.
Did you mention Cindy Bailey here
Cindy
yet, too?
Bailey is our Assistant Campus Dean for Student Affairs, and she was honored with the Nora McGuire Outstanding Academic Staff Member. So it's just really shows, I think, how dedicated she is and our whole team is to the students and helping them succeed.
Safe to say that the 50th year for UW Marinette is shaped up to be pretty exciting?
It certainly has.
We're going to talk more here with Paula Langto. She is the dean at UW Marinette. Plenty of things going on at the local college campus. Going to talk about those more when we come back here on Our Town. You've got it on Hometown Radio, 103.7 FM and 1340 WAGN. Stick around. It's Our Town. I'm Ken Connors, joined today by Paula Langto. She's the Dean at UW Marinette. UW Marinette just entered its spring semester here. It started at the end of January, still registering some folks for classes over the next day or two. Also, it's a big year for UW Marinette. It is the 50th anniversary of the local campus. They've got a lot of great programming going on. Right now, I want to switch gears just a little bit. Of course, the UW system been in the news pretty much quite heavily here lately. Been talking about the Wisconsin governor's new budget proposal, and the UW system figures into that fairly heavily. I'm kind of wondering, can you tell me a little bit about the local take here on the budget proposal? Of course, we've been hearing cuts could be coming to the UW system. How are we reacting to that here at UW Marinette?
Sure. Well, there are three key components to the proposal that would have budgetary impact on the University of Wisconsin. The first one is a continued tuition freeze for 2 more years. The second one is public authority status for the University of Wisconsin. And the third one is a $3 million base budget cut over 2 years. And we can talk about each of the three of those pieces. In terms of the tuition freeze, accessibility is really a primary component of our mission in the UW colleges. And we have frozen tuition 6 out of the last 8 years. We actually started the tuition freeze in the UW colleges in 2006 to 2007, volunteering to hold the 2-year campus's tuition frozen around the state. That's how important it is to us that students have access. And with the rest of the system, we experienced increases in 2 years after that. And then we had frozen tuition these past 2 years. So we remain the lowest cost in the UW system. Our fees are at $5,100 for the year for a full-time student, where the 4-year UW average is about $7,800. So it's a significant savings. So that's a really important piece to this, and I think something very beneficial to the students. The public authority status is a second piece of this, and that is actually already in place in Michigan. So some people might think that this is a really new thing, but there are many states around the country that have it. And the push behind it is really to be able to secure the lowest cost goods and services for campus operations. Currently, we're bound by state contract to use particular vendors, and when those vendors offer the most competitive prices, that's a good thing. And we'd like to continue to use them. But we're finding that sometimes, especially at smaller campuses like UW Marinette, local vendors can offer more competitive pricing. And this would give us an opportunity to use those local vendors, giving business back to the community and saving money at the same time.
If I'm not mistaken, over the last year or two, UW colleges were tasked with saving a little chunk of money. And if I remember right, you did accomplish that here at the local college, did you not?
Right. Well, that's the third piece, and that is that budget cut piece. In the current biennium, the UW colleges experienced a $2.3 million base budget reduction. That was our institution's allotment of the UW system $63 million cut. The loss of institutional funding in an already lean organization did lead to job loss, as positions with other cuts were being made institutionally to position our campus to manage operations locally based on its own revenues and enrollments, which before we opened housing in 2012 were very challenging in our area. In total, 7 positions were eliminated, while at the same time we invested in new positions in key growth areas like housing and international, which we talked about earlier, in order to sustain operations into the future. But this did displace workers, some longtime employees, with losses in the areas of student services, library, IT, and custodial services. So it was a very difficult time.
Of course, we're talking about this budget right now, and it's just a proposal, and it's going to be several months that they're going to work on this, and we'll see how it ends up shaking out and how it ends up affecting the UW system. Of course, we'll watch that very closely here, too. Is it safe to say that, when all is said and done, is really the emphasis still going to be on students and the programming that's offered to them?
Always. Our mission of access and quality to students remains our top priority. We are, obviously concerned that the proposed cuts as they currently stand would be 2.5 times greater than they were in the current biennium, and this would pose even more difficult challenges. on a small campus like ours where already there are many positions that only one person is trained to do. So the impact would be even greater if these positions were lost because it would equate to a loss in service. But as you mentioned, we don't have enough information now to speculate on how exactly that would play out because, of course, the legislature has to make its own recommendations now that it has the governor's, and the final budget won't be approved until June. And then once that's done, the UW system, when they get their figure, will have to allocate that out to the different institutions. And then in the UW colleges, they would have to allocate that out to the different campuses. So while we don't know yet what that impact will be on our campus, as you mentioned, our goal will remain access and quality for students in this community.
Want to hit on one more thing really quickly here. There's a date we need to watch out for in September where it's the rededication ceremony for UW Marinette. What's that date going to be, Paula?
Right. We're very excited. On September 15th, we will be having a rededication of our campus, and we will be bringing in not only our former dean, Sid Bremer, who was the dean before me, but the campus's very first dean, Lon Weber, will be flying in to be part of that rededication. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Bay Cities Radio is going to be doing a live broadcast during the celebration luncheon following the event on campus for fall convocation.
That is right. If you want to keep up with all the great programming going on, plenty of things out there for the public at UW Marinette. You can follow them online. Their website, marinette.uwc.edu. I want to thank my guest today, Paula Langto, the dean at UW Marinette. We covered a lot of topics here. Of course, the spring semester just getting underway at the local college campus. Thank you for tuning into Our Town this morning here on Hometown Radio, 103.7 FM and 1340 WAGN.